Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dilly, and I absolutely hate the fact that I have to make this video because I love Karrion Kross. In wrestling, there's three things you need, and anyone in the business will tell you this. You need a look, you need a character, and you need to be good in the ring. 99% of wrestlers nowadays are lucky to have two of these things, though there's a short list of wrestlers that have all three. Guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, they're examples of people who have the look, the character, and can go in the ring. Karrion Kross is another guy, he has all three, so what's the problem here? Well, guys like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins all had main event spots on WrestleMania this year, and Karrion Kross didn't have a match. Karrion Kross is a guy who has been busting his ass for years, taking every shitty hand he's ever been dealt and doing whatever he can with it. And being this good soldier for as long as he has, he didn't even get a match on the show of shows, in his hometown nonetheless. Look at it like this. If you were in his shoes, you've got all the tools, the crowd is so behind you, most storylines in the company Karrion Kross has had a hand in building, and all you need is your big break. And then when the big show comes around, nothing. Meanwhile, guys like Logan Paul are on the show, and guys like Joe Hendry, who's not even with WWE, is on the show. How would you feel in that situation? Well, Karrion actually voiced how he feels about this recently.
And the crowd told you exactly how they felt about me, and you ignored it. Become undeniable. My ass. Guy with the suit and tie in the truck, go fuck yourself. That's from Killer Kross. No.
That is what we call a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is still fresh, and it could definitely go a few ways from this point. This could be a worked shoot, like meant to get him over. Maybe there's plans for him that will soon unfold. Maybe this video will age like milk out in the hot sun. I hope that's the case, but here's why I'm really afraid. I'm afraid of Karrion Kross becoming the next Sean O'Haire. If you're unaware, in the 2000s, Sean O'Haire was in a very similar spot. He was great in the ring, he was great on the mic, and he had a hell of a look. There was no reason for him to fail, but WWE, as they do, they dropped the ball on him like they have with several others over the years. Karrion Kross is a once-in-a-generation talent, and to see WWE potentially piss him away like this is beyond a travesty. It's not fair to Karrion, it's not fair to his fans, and it's not fair to wrestling as a whole. From a realistic point of view, based on what they've done in the past with people who have voiced their unhappiness with the company, they'll keep him silent, not booking him until his contract runs out. Perhaps the worst part about all this is that it's happened to Karrion before. In the early 2020s, Karrion was pushed up to the main roster from NXT, and right away they put him in a gimp suit and stripped him of everything Karrion Kross stood for. They took away his entrance, his manager, and anything that made him him. I look at that run where he was wearing the stupid mask and gimp suit as his Deadpool run. And I'm not talking like cool MCU Deadpool, no. I'm talking X-Men Origins Deadpool. For those who haven't seen it, which good on you for not. But basically in this movie, they needed a villain for Wolverine to cut through, and for some sort of convenience, they just took one of the greatest characters in Deadpool and ruined him. Deadpool was one of the greatest anti-heroes to ever exist, and they took everything away from him. They took his suit, they took his katanas, and they literally sewed his mouth shut. The merc with a mouth lost his ability to speak, and guess what happened? Everyone hated it. That's exactly what happened with Karrion Kross in his initial run on main roster. He went out, had uninspired matches, but as a good soldier, he did what he was told. The character, which WWE made themselves entirely, failed to get over, and as a result of their own failure, Karrion, who took their ball and ran with it, was fired. He got fired because their own science experiment blew up in their face. So if he got fired in the early 2020s, how is he there now? Well, once Vince McMahon left the company for reasons, Triple H took over and sought out wasted talents to do right by them. That list of names is pretty big, but it includes guys like Bray Wyatt, who had a, lackluster run before passing away, LA Knight, who got super over and then nothing, Braun Strowman, who might still be around. You know, when you look at it like this, it seems Triple H actually failed a lot of these guys. I could realistically make separate videos for each of these entries, and maybe I will if this one does well, but let's get back to Kross. So after Triple H brought him back, he got thrust into a great spot right away. His first night back, he comes in and he takes out Drew McIntyre, who just got off his run of being WWE champion. And on his way out, he placed an hourglass in front of Roman Reigns, signaling that his time as champion was running short. This was an amazing display, and of course, as a fan of Karrion Kross, I marked out. I thought, oh my god, this dude is the future. They're finally gonna do something with him. I'm so excited. It was a sign of great things to come, so we thought. His first PLE match back, he beats Drew McIntyre. So he really went from being fired to beating one of their top guys in less than a calendar year. So at this point, what could go wrong? Well, he lost his next match to Drew McIntyre and the feud flatlined. Okay, they wanted McIntyre to get his wind back. I get it, it happens, life goes on. Then he moved on to feud with Rey Mysterio, one of the biggest legends still going today. Great, then what happened? Well, the feud was mostly ignored. No PLE matches came from it and nobody benefited from it. His next feud, funny enough, was with AJ Styles. Again, no PLE matches to prove that it happened, and it ended with AJ Styles standing victorious. And then Kross just vanishes. 4 months later, Karrion Kross comes back to lose in the first round of a mid-card title tournament. His first appearance in almost half a year, and he gets defeated in round 1. How could that make anyone a star? Things started looking up shortly after when a vignette aired teasing a new faction for Kross. Enter the Authors of Pain, 2 hulking brutes and their manager, Paul Ellering. A super faction is born, and right away they go after Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. The feud was pretty heavy leading into WrestleMania 40. The Final Testament, as they came to be known, actually had a match on the card, a gimmick match at that. They took on the Pride, Lashley and the Street Profits. And it was a passable match, refereed by Bubba Ray Dudley for some reason. It was a decent showing, but they lost. Okay, sorry, I gotta put on my Triple H voice. Okay, where do we go from here? Well, Final Testament go down to NXT for a whopping few weeks, and then they get drafted to Raw. If it wasn't clear already, there was zero creative direction going on here for Kross and his buddies. This back and forth, hot and cold booking ruined any legitimacy they had, and they didn't really have much up to this point anyway. Back on Raw, they had a feud with The New Day, and they lost. I'm sensing a pattern here. Things came to a halt, and a few months later, AOP and Paul Ellering were just released. I don't tweet very often at all, but when this happened, I made sure to voice my opinion online. Don't fire Kross. Kross stayed and was relegated to backstage segments. He'd basically be acting as a black cat crossing people's paths. If you came across him, something bad was gonna happen. He foreshadowed heel turns, breakups, and he had a real hell of an aura. Leading into this year's Mania, he injected himself into AJ Styles' feud with Logan Paul. Basically, Logan Paul wasn't going to be around, and someone had to build this match, so Karrion just kind of stepped in and built it for him. So with no plans of really utilizing Kross, he was trying to build AJ Styles. He told him he needed to go back to his evil ways, which is a reference to TNA, and if he didn't, AJ was going to pay the price and lose his match. So, him and AJ had a singles match, and Karrion lost. In losing, though, I will say he kept things interesting. He literally put his hands behind his back and let AJ hit a phenomenal forearm, and he was really hoping to embrace some sort of a new heelish character from AJ. Clearly, they were setting something up here, so him taking that loss against Styles wasn't really gonna hurt. And fast forward to WrestleMania, Styles doesn't take his advice and loses the match. This is where our story ends, at least for now. Will there be further plans from here? Probably not. There probably never were. They made Karrion look like a joke. Like, this match honestly should have been AJ versus Kross, and this is how easy it is to book this thing. So let's go back and erase the match Karrion and AJ had on Raw. Keep the build to WrestleMania the exact same. Kross wants AJ to turn to the bad side, basically. He wants him to embrace his evil ways. He sees that AJ is squandering the last few years he has in the business, and he wants him to change. This helping hand act can work, though with the writers WWE currently has, I don't think it really could. Kross basically sacrificing himself to benefit others is really silly if you think about it. He finds a way to make it interesting because he's just that fucking good, but it makes him look like an absolute joke. So let's flip it a little bit here. Leading into Mania, have Kross dominate AJ Styles on a weekly basis, whether it be physically, verbally, mentally. He needs to be above AJ Styles. He needs to be here, AJ needs to be here. Kross keeps winning week after week, and AJ still refuses to embrace the evil ways. Going into Mania, Kross enters first, he gets the crowd excited, then all of a sudden, AJ's old theme from TNA, Evil Ways, starts playing. The place fucking erupts. In the match, obviously, Kross gets in a lot of offense, but Styles always has the one up on him. Leading to the finish, AJ locks in the calf crusher. Kross is beat, and he knows he's beat. He knows he got the Evil Ways out of Styles, and he's smiling while in the submission. Even in losing, by tapping out here, he builds himself to be better than he was going into the match, and he also allows AJ to springboard off the top of that and make himself a bigger star as well. Kross taps out, AJ has a dark heel run, and Kross moves on to bigger and better things. It is so simple. The match and outcome I just wrote in a few seconds makes everyone involved a bigger star than they were when they came into it. Meanwhile, in reality, AJ Styles just lost to a goddamn YouTuber, Kross was ignored, and everything fell flat. Sure, Logan Paul went over, but why couldn't he have just gone against Orton instead of Joe Hendry? Win or lose, Logan Paul would have been able to say, hey, I fought Randy Orton at WrestleMania. It's not like that's not a big deal. Going into the Mania, the story involved AJ and Kross. And at Mania, neither of them benefited, neither of them looked good. Both of their stars tanked. What is the logic here? Like, do they not care about AJ or Kross? Why would you feed two full-time guys who are on TV every single week to a part-timer who doesn't even need to win and won't even acknowledge that he won? Anyways, immediately after Mania, Karrion Kross went on a tirade as previously mentioned. Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Who cares? Either way, nothing's gonna happen with Kross. Nothing was ever going to happen with Kross. WWE has proven time and time again that Kross will absolutely never be a main guy. He will never be a big priority here. It can be argued that there is simply too much talent right now and it's hard to make everyone happy, but the real problem is the lazy, boring writing. This feud did no favors. The only guy it elevated is a guy that won't be on TV to talk about it. And this has been a problem with WWE for a very long time now, and it simply doesn't get addressed. They do not listen to the fans, they don't listen to me, they don't listen to you. Instead, they do cookie cutter, by the numbers nonsense and drag it out far too long in most scenarios. Raw used to be exciting to watch, but lately it just hasn't been. And listen, this isn't just bitterness about Karrion being wasted, it's a general concern that I've had for a very long time watching the product. The shows they put out every week are made for a very broad audience, people who have never watched and likely never will again. Meanwhile, diehards like myself are often disappointed with the final result. If your main audience, your core audience, the ones who have been supporting you for years, are often disappointed by the final result, then do you not think it should be reevaluated? The issue then becomes the fact that statistically, they can't see this being an issue. Their numbers are great and everyone still watches it. Like, I'm gonna watch Raw after Mania, which is currently live as I'm recording this. There should be a system in place where they can ask regular fans what they should focus on. I could go on about the horrible booking era we're in, but instead, I'll end this video with a couple questions. Are you content with the current product? Is it checking all the boxes for you? What could be better? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, this is Dilly, signing out.